Shalom, Rastafari. We're going to continue on this subject matter right here. And let's bring up that window right here. It was on Canaanite goddess conquered Egypt from the Haaretz site from November 11th, 2013. And basically what they're saying is the same thing we've been seeking to teach our own people here in the diaspora. But because we have been given or presented half original view of who we are as ancient black people, Kamites, Kamo, Shemitic, Afro-Shemitic people, we have to throw out the trash. And this article right here just confirms what we've already been teaching on this particular subject matter. And here it goes right here. So one just provide this so ones can get it, study it, and see what it's saying for themselves. Come to their own perspective on this, right? Based on the evidence that we have, not just based on our feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions are good servants, but they make poor masters. We don't have the luxury of just looking at things from that view or a superficial view. And as we are able to have a greater access for information, certain things we're going to have to upgrade and update based on the evidence. Now, true, there might be some false information and false evidence and manipulating. And we're going to touch on that. So right here, let's go to the part 2 of this. Who is the Canaanite? Right? There's a difference between the Hebrew and the Canaanite. And when we look into the Torah says very expressly for us not to, right? For us not to take their sons or their daughters. Now, what would happen later on is part of what has happened later on. So we don't know, well, how come black folks are in the situation we're in today? Because we don't have a true narrative. We have a half original narrative of who's who and what happened in the beginning. Now, here they say on this popular Wikipedia site, right? Here they say that's how you say Canaan right there in hieroglyphics. That's going to come in very important in our study. We have this page right here, and then we have this information over right here. Now I want you to get a good view of it. We only have a couple of minutes here in this presentation, right? Now we clicked on that. They say that it's the Canaanites as they were portrayed in the ancient Egyptian book of Gates, dated to the 13th century BC. Now that's half original. It's half true, right? That means that it's half a lie. Well, what part of it's a lie? Well, let's go over here for a moment. Now, as you click on it, they'll say, well, this is the Canaanites. Now, here's where they seek to spin a false narrative, right? Here's where they seek to spin a false narrative, right? As well as they falsify the picture, because let's look down here. We're going to have to go through some of this. Can you see the complexion difference between the 7th of December, 2011 versions? How the Hebrews, the Afro-Shemitic people, right? The Afro-Shemitic, the Kamo-Shemitic people, known as the Hebrews and the Israelites, our ancestors, we here in this North country in the Western Hemisphere who were enslaved and stripped of our true name. You see what they're doing with our ancient testimony they found in Egypt. So as you look at the older versions of the picture, you will find within this complexion, even from the wall paintings. It was interesting. We started to look at some of the wall paintings, and we see that some images that were there before, they've been scrubbing them and even repainting them. The so-called modern Arabs that call themselves Egyptians, they've been doing this a whole lot. So when we compare, right, some of the 1800s to 19th and 20th century photographs and drawings with what is now being recirculated, right? Recirculated. There's COINTELPRO going on in even Egyptology. The COINTELPRO going on in Egyptology, where they're trying to say that the Hebrews or the Amu, right? The Amu people, the people right? The Hebrews were the Canaanites. It's a big difference, even when you look into the script. But then they did the same thing with black people. They said that black people are black because of the curse of Ham. And they say the curse of Ham is biblical. But then when we look into the Bible, very interestingly enough, what we find in the Bible, right? What we find in the Bible is that there is no curse of Ham. There's absolutely no curse of Ham in the Bible. It's a curse of Canaan. Now you have to ask yourself, why would they say the curse of Ham? Because Ham, Kemet, Kam, ancient Egypt. Goes along with them taking Egypt out of Africa. Or when they discuss Egyptology and they see people of even this hue and complexion, but even here they have readjusted the colors. Right. This is a little closer, but you can see as we go through different photos, we look at the date. When we look at some of the older photos among Egyptologists that we're basically Europeans talking to Europeans. In some of their documents, they're basically giving each other the info straight. But now that more black folks have got into Egypt, even some preachers and pastors recognize they have to up their religious game. You know, they have to get real foundation on this, right? Now they're reprinting, they're dissembling false, half true, half false information. Now, the real Canaanites in this picture are them. These are the Canaanites, but they'll say the Canaanites are the Libyans down here. Well, there's a connection, but you see, they say that the devil's in the details. See, because folks don't understand the details. It's like what we showed you right here, where they say over here, the Canaanites, right? Now notice something right here. We showed you this right here. You see the difference in complexion. Now I noticed this when I was looking at a lecture among the Moors, a Sarnetta lecture. I think it's Ali Bey and another, I think Muhammad Ali, another Moor. They were having a debate, and one brother basically said, well, the Canaanites, these are your Canaanites right here. And he showed a picture like this, of this complexion, right? Of this complexion, right? Actually, some read this as the Amu, but we'll look into that right there. He said, this is the Canaanites, but these are the Israelites. Look at the fringes. These are the Israelites. But now if you look at the complexion, if you really look at this carefully, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up. Right? You see nuances, right? You see nuances where let's bring this up for you right here. You see how big the difference in complexion here? You see the date? The current image has been greatly whitened and lightened, lightening the image of the black Hebrews. That's what they do. They are seeking to whiten the image of the black Hebrews as well as displace the name. They want to say that, well, these are the Amu, right? And they were the Canaanites, while they'll say it's the Asiatics, and the Asiatics are the Canaanites. And the Canaanites are and have become Indo-European and Eurasian people. Now, there's a very important reason to note that right there. Now, we have a very limited amount of time in this particular vid, so let's kind of go through this forthwith. I just want you to see this difference between this image, and then look at the date. Right? 2011. Since we've been teaching on this, right? Since we've been teaching on this in the Society of His Majesty, the Lion of Judah Society, and I, Ras Iodonis, Wyndham Yadin, and others have been teaching on this. You see what they have done with the popular. So if one does a wiki search, as well as they give you a very small image. Notice they're giving you a very small image by comparison, but you see a great difference. Even from this size right here, the thumbnail size, you see a great difference between the complexions. I mean, look how many degrees they have lightened this up. I mean, it's so ironic. So when we look at this over here, let's go to this particular page over here, right? Now, this is the Canaanites, Indo-European Canaanites right here. We have the pointer on there. Let's give you a larger picture. These are the Canaanites right here. All right. These are the Indo-European types right here. This is where people went from black, right, to the Egyptian type, the Indo-African type, the Egyptian type, right? And between these two types here, bred this type, which is the Hebrew type. Therefore, we say Afro-Shemitic, Como-Shemitic,